Hello and welcome to a New Year's special of the Aussie Wire News. I hope you had fun last night. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fresh and looking forward to the new year. This special New Year's episode is all about rebels with a cause. We'll replay our interview with Ezra Levant from ARC, as well as one of our interviews with Rebel News reporter Avi Yemini, and finish with one of last year's interviews with Rukshan Fernando, who's an independent citizen journalist who does work with Rebel, as well as with the Aussie Wire and many others. So please enjoy this Rebels with a Cause special episode of the Aussie Wire News.
Well, I was going to get to the censorship issue. I'm a big fan of Avi's. I think what he's done is absolutely incredible in Australia, and obviously Rebel News around the world. You've got bureaus in various parts of the world, but there really seems to be a systematic pushback against allowing the other side to be spoken. How is Rebel News surviving in a landscape where one wrong statement in a YouTube video can cost you an entire YouTube channel? And that's true of most social media platforms, not just YouTube. How do you survive in that environment?
Well, it's hard because we have a pretty large YouTube channel, 1.6 million viewers, but one day they cut off our monetization completely. Yeah. We were on track to make $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Then there's something on YouTube called Super Chat. It's like a tip. Okay, we were on track to make $400,000 a year. They cut that off. And their excuses, their reasons are laughable.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So we rely on our viewers. We don't take any government money.
Yep.
And actually, the fact that we were demonetized, in a way, it set us free. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Because we lost our monetization in 2017, before the pandemic, we really had almost no advertising money. It was almost all from our viewers.
Yeah.
And so what could they do to us during the pandemic when we said, well, we're skeptics of the lockdown? You know, people can take the vaccine as their own choice, but they shouldn't be forced to. So we weren't as afraid anymore because they had already pulled the trigger on us. I mean, I guess they could have completely banned us, but our answer at Rebel News, and it may be different for other independent media, was to try and cultivate a direct relationship. We rely on crowdfunding.
Yeah.
And the thing about crowdfunding is you get lots of little donations,
sure.
$10, $20. The average gift to Rebel News is $58.
Yeah, right.
And that's a fair bit of dough when you think about it, but in another way, it's not.
Yeah.
So if we crowdfund enough for our staff or a journey, let's say, it's a lot of little gifts. And here's the thing. Our journalists, they don't know who's chipping in $50 or $100. So they don't know who the donors are.
Yeah.
And even if they did, there's no one donor who's so large that they could pick up the phone and say, hey, that Avi Yemini's getting out of hand, fire him. There's just, when you spread out the crowdfunding amongst thousands of people, not only are you not beholden to any one person other than your own conscience, it makes you really attentive to your viewers. Because they say, hey, what about this? Or why aren't you covering that? You've really got to listen to them, because if you don't, you're going to lose their support. Contrast that with, say, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, the ABC.
Yeah.
Really, they just have to please one man.
Yeah.
In a way, the government.
Yeah.
And so they can ignore or even insult or even abuse their viewers and the taxpayers, because they don't have to win the hearts and minds of their viewers. They just got to please one guy to keep that government check coming. So it's an unusual way to do media, crowdfunding, but we love it because that means, if you're going to get your money from the government or from a large corporation, you better be ready to do what those oligarchs say.
It's become very, very apparent that the alternative media needs to stick with each other. We need to support each other, and this is what we're really enjoying about your approach. You've been very, very welcoming of us as a newcomer on the block compared to yourself and compared to Rebel News Australia. I'm very grateful to you and to Rebel News, to Ezra Levant and the whole team for the incredible work that you guys did during that COVID era. It wouldn't have been possible for someone like me to do what I was doing without having you guys actually getting the other side of the story out there. But that era brought out some really interesting moments and some really interesting people, and it's someone that I think we should acknowledge is going to be Rukshan Fernando, who saw that coming.
Well, I don't want to be in the same recording as that guy.
I know you don't. You hate each other's guts. The feud is palpable. No. But it was just this beautiful moment of citizen journalism. In his case, he didn't have the backing of an outfit like yourself. He didn't have the background of myself with over a decade of political commentary by that point in time. He was just someone who said, I don't like what's happening and someone needs to do something and I'm I'm going to point a camera at it. How did you get your start? Why did you, like that was the catalyst for him. What was the catalyst for you to actually get out there and do something in the first place?
Well, for me, it was actually, honestly, I was a gym owner at the time. I'd finished my military service in Israel and I came back and I opened a couple of IDF gyms, which was based around Krav Maga, and they were quite popular. And I remember in one of the operations in the Gaza Strip when war broke out, and I remember I didn't even know the difference between left and right. I wouldn't have been able to tell you the difference. I wouldn't have been able to tell you which one Liberal or Labor were. I did not know. I did not really care. I was probably like most Aussies, especially back then. I was apathetic.
Yeah.
But then when I sat down one night and watched ABC and I saw them reporting on the conflict, and it was they were exactly where I had been stationed for most of my service, and I knew what they were telling was not what the reality was on the ground. So I actually started using my IDF training Facebook page to voice, my experienced opinion about what was really happening, and to tell people what was going on the ground, also from people I know there at the time. And I guess after that had all ended, obviously some people loved me for it. A lot of people hated me for it, the story of my life. But then after that, I think I kind of found my voice and I go, I don't really like just being a gym owner. I kind of enjoy speaking my mind. And I again, it was a process because I didn't actually know the difference in the political sphere. I knew what I believed in. So I kind of approached everything from a common sense perspective, and I used the Facebook page and until some of my members, not necessarily that they did, I don't know really if they agreed or disagreed with some of my positions, but what they said to me is, hey, we love your gym, maybe you shouldn't be using the pages to voice your political opinions. Now, when it came to Israel, that was one thing that I thought, if you're coming to train at a Krav Maga gym and you don't actually understand the idea of self-defense, and don't worry about it, don't come and learn the Israeli army self-defense system. But with everything else, I thought they had a point, and that's when one of my first Facebook, now long banned, was born, and that's where it started, and it's been a journey. Oh boy, it's been a journey since then.
You've done some great work, and we're going to put a link to one of your videos into the description of this video. I highly recommend people go and watch it. You've given people a bit of a rundown on what's happening, but just the Cliff Notes version. What's going on? What's been the fallout now?
Great to be back, Topher. Well, the fallout is that the fact checker themselves has been suspended by Meta. And I'm laughing because, normally it's this company or this organization, RMIT Fact Lab, that goes around graying out people's posts on Facebook or, effectively censoring them. And embarrassingly for them, they have been disgraced by Facebook themselves, by Meta, by having their status, their access to this fact-checking tools of Facebook suspended. Because of some of the complaints that they've received about them, and also the fact that they are not certified according to the Meta's own policies that they need to adhere to. So since that's become more revealed, since I think Sky News ran a story on this, since some Australian senators started asking questions about this, Meta has had to take an action against this group, and I think it's a good step in the right direction in holding these type of institutions accountable, because they've just been running amok against Australians over the last few years with a lot of, in my opinion, erroneous fact checks. And to see that these organizations are now being held accountable, and now I know not everyone's going to be happy with the way they're being held accountable maybe, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you for watching our New Year's Rebels with a Cause special episode of the Aussie Wire News. We release new episodes of the Aussie Wire every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. You can catch up on past episodes at theaussiewire.com, and be sure to read our blogs and join our email list while you're there. And finally, if you appreciate what we do here at the Aussie Wire as we stand up for truth, freedom and hope, please become an insider. That's a financial supporter. Our insiders get giveaways, discounts, exclusive content, and of course our insiders community. You can become an insider at the link below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Topher Field, and this is the Aussie Wire.